So I spent some time in Kansas City. I had no idea the Kansas City Scouts existed. I admit it. I know. I'm a disappointment, but that's part of the show.
I'll give you a hint.
Part of the show dynamic is me disappointing you perpetually.
Their name and their nickname is a baseball team now. Sorry, I should have put my phone on mute.
Yeah. Speaking of disappointing each other, yes, you should put your phone on mute when we're doing a show.
Yeah.
So give me the answer.
Colorado Rockies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But then went to New Jersey, right? Yeah.
Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Hey, I do want to say...
Don Cherry was the coach. Yep.
Good questions, by the way. And I also want to say, take this opportunity to thank everybody who listens, everybody who comes out, everybody who supports Dulono's Pizza and our other sponsors. We started this a few years ago, not really having any idea what we're doing, and it's been fun to grow it, to grow the audience, to get to know our listeners. I want to thank Michael for helping out in that way as well. If you know anybody who wants to sponsor the programs, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. We have 1 million shows now, including this one. Also, we have some vintage shirts up here. Vicky has laid claim to the newest one. We have a couple vintage shirts, some bumper stickers, some business cards. Check all that out. Yes?
All right.
What's the 47 on your email address signify? Anything?
I think that's the age I still wish I were.
You look 47.
Yeah, I look a multiple of 47, yes.
All right. The NHL introduces new rules from time to time to make the game more exciting for the fans and safer for the players. So, Michael Russo, you are the commissioner. What rule would you introduce to the game?
Good question.
That is a good one. Well, I will just say, first of all, that I am. It drives me crazy how they change the rules every year. So, I mean, that's why it's like I'm not popping in right away to something that they should change in terms of rules. Like, I've never been somebody that you should score as many power plays in 2-minute span as some want. I don't think that it should be endless overtime. I do like the rules the way they are. Let's put it this way, I wish they'd enforce the rules. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. Call it. I don't like when the referees ignore stuff. And things like that. So it's kind of a boring answer. I was talking to a certain goalie on the Wild yesterday who's not happy about the new chest protectors. I won't tell you the goalie, though.
Josh Harding?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Josh Harding anyway?
He's still around. He's a goalie coach over at...
I was trying to annoy you with a vintage, annoying Russo question. You didn't bite on it.
No.
You should listen to the show once in a while.
Yeah.
All right, I have a follow-up question. There's a basket of zucchini, I think,
yes,
across from you on the table.
Better not be zucchini.
So do you bake zucchini bread, and do you have a great recipe for it?
No, but it's very kind. Vicky and Clyde, they have a garden, and they is it zucchini? I'm not a zucchini person.
Cucumber.
But she brings us vegetables.
And they're great.
Yeah.
My wife and I have been having them all week. They're really good.
I bought some cucumbers at Target yesterday, and the inside is yellow. Is that a problem?
That's not good. Yeah.
Okay, because I ate it and I don't feel well. So,
thank you for the questions. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to Vicky's question.
I'm not even kidding.
As Vicky walks up to the mic, let me thank Tony Hoaglund, Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, who sponsors a number of programs around the network.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
Oh, no. Sorry. That was not meant for you, State Farm.
No, it was meant.
It's meant because Vicky's walking up and scrolling on her iPhone, which means that people have sent her questions to ask probably.
And it's Vicky's job.
And it looks long.
Vicky wanted the last of the newer form shirts, and I told her you have to annoy Russo to get the shirt. So
is this from Philip?
4 from Philip.
4 from Philip.
But I'm only going to read 2.
My parking runs out at 7 o'clock.
Can I ask you a question? Philip, Does Philip live in the Twin Cities?
No, he lives 10 hours away.
Okay, all right. Excuses. All right.
Yeah, no,
It should be every
I know.
week. You really should.
Every day, every time we're in here, it's like, hey, I drove up from Iowa. I drove here from Milwaukee. I drove here from Duluth. I don't know where Philip's from.
Alec drives up from New
Lima,
Orleans.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
It's a
He
short
does have a
flight.
summer place, though. He comes in the summer. But there was no podcast, so anyway.
It's one of them.
I'm only going to pick two.
Okay.
Okay, Bruce seems to relish the lack of expectations that national media has for the Wild. Does the national media expectations have a noticeable influence, in either direction, on the mood of the locker room? Given the lack of expectations, can we expect a chip-on-the-shoulder mood?
No.
Or is it the chip on the shoulder just a projection by the media?
No, I mean, I don't want to, and I'm going to try to be careful the way I answer this question. But when I talk to the players, they get it. I mean, they get it. I mean, I've talked to players all week that are like, are we better? I don't know. I mean, they expected other moves. They see the same team coming back. They know they failed 6 years in a row. I mean, that's just reality. I know that, we all want to create this fallacy fallacy is the wrong word because I'm already telling you the way that I feel about it, but create this narrative that the player is going to walk in insulted, that they're being slighted. But I'm telling you, and this is my concern about this team, is that they become so numb, they become so fractured by the constant losing that it does filter into the next season. So, there might be some guys on that team that believe, hey, I'm a great player, this is a great team, blah, 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 blah. But I can tell you that the players that I talk to are not offended by the prognosticators expecting them to take a step back. They absolutely get it. It's still up to them to prove people wrong. Hopefully what I'm saying is being understood by you.
I think I get it.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. As long as the buck stops with them.
Yeah, no, it
good
is.
with
I mean, they're the common denominator. I've said it. I mean, new GM, new coaches. This has happened with 3 coaches now, if you include Torch, but he did coach in a postseason.
Yep.
Now, every year they do have their excuses. You either run into a bad team or the only year they really don't have an excuse to me is St. Louis. Right. That was the year they were supposed to beat the Blues. They lost to them. They failed. They were pretty much healthy. Dallas, they were decimated by injury, and last year they were absolutely decimated by injury. So, we're combining last year's first-round exit into every other year's, but the reality is that without Suter, with a banged-up Spurgeon, and with a Parise that eventually got hurt, they weren't beating the Winnipeg Jets. So,
Does the fan base have a bad impression of Foligno? He doesn't seem like himself from Buffalo after his face was broken, but he was, quoting you, much better down the stretch and effective in the playoffs.
well, yeah, I mean, I think that if he plays the way that he did down the stretch and in the playoffs all year long, he's doing his role for this team. He was good down the stretch. Bad impression. It took him a long time. He'll admit it, and Bruce admits it took a long time for them to have a happy marriage, the two of them. And I do think that, and I do believe, and I've said it on the podcast many times, is that I think when the Wild continually go out and acquire players from losing teams, it takes them a while to all of a sudden realize winning habits. You become so accustomed to losing that that's why I just, constantly going out and getting Martin Hansels and the 50 guys they've gotten from the Buffalo Sabres all the years. I don't think you should be shocked when they come here and struggle off the hop. So, bad impression. I mean, he created the impression by not playing well at the start, but I can tell you that he's coming to camp in great shape. He's trying to pick up where he left off at the end of the season. Good questions, Philip. Do you have any more?
I do, actually. Blake Wheeler is amazing. But will he still be worth $8.25 million in years 4 and 5 of his deal when he will be 36 and 37? Or is that just part of what a GM is willing to accept to get him for the next few years before he starts to decline?
All right, that is a great question. And because I will say, I could go on this topic in 50 directions, but let me start with Kevin Cheveldayoff. 2-3 years ago, the narrative was, how the hell is Kevin Cheveldayoff going to get any free agent to want to come to Winnipeg? Everybody was either asking out or not going there. He was trying to get guys. Last year, he made a bold move by getting Stastny. Stastny, even though he went to Vegas, actually loved it there and was considering re-signing. Now, all of a sudden, he's actually convincing his core to re-sign in Winnipeg for long-term time. And they're doing it. And so, yeah, he might have to technically overpay for those guys, but Blake Wheeler, who's from Minnesota and lives in South Florida and works out in California, is saying, I want to spend the next 5 years in Winnipeg. Connor Hellebuck is saying that. Scheifele, these guys are willing to commit there to freaking Winnipeg. No offense. But that says a lot, like, that they're willing to do that because they've found a community that they actually like. They love the fan base. They love the organization. They believe in the future, and these guys are willing to commit. So I think it's great. In terms of him, first of all, at least it wasn't an 8-year deal. I think.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying I think Philip should be more worried about the way that 13-year deals are going to worry than what Blake Wheeler is going to be about in 4 or 5 years. And I don't mean that as a slight on him, but I'm less worried about that because it eventually at least ends. But this was the price to get Blake Wheeler. They're one of their 2 best players to commit there, and he did it. And I look at Blake Wheeler last year at 32 or 3 years old, whatever it was, as having his best year by far. He was an absolute dominant player. He kept that. I voted for him in my top 5 for MVP. Why? Because Mark Scheifele, when he was out, that team went on a run. And why? Because they took a right wing, put him at center, and Blake Wheeler was their best player. He's an absolute stud. And so this was a great move by them. And I don't think that his game is going to automatically fall totally off. But look, everything's a risk. That's the job when you pay these guys. It's a risk what they paid Zucker and Dumba. It's a risk getting out of bed in the morning. I mean, GMs have to take risks, and I would make that risk on Blake Wheeler every second of the day. I was shocked at how many people were like, what? Blake Wheeler, 8.25? It's Winnipeg. They had to pay him, or he would have left. Right.
Well, before I read his 4th and last question, the Whipple Wars was really fun. That was great.
Really? Because I hated... Not that I hated... Let's put it this way. I hope I'm sick next year. I'll donate money just not to play. Let's put it that way. It'll be good for everybody that's coming. At least I made contact this year, Jim.
Congratulations.
He did. He got a hit. I was impressed.
All right, Vicky, ask Philip's question.
A hit.
Were you wearing slorts?
A double.
It was.
It was a double.
We were shocked and amazed.
Double play?
I was using a fat bat.
It was. And Monday was a blast with Bruce. That was really fun.
Yeah.
That's a
awesome.
Fast 3 hours.
I was shocked. It was fast. And you know what? And I handed to him to come down there and deal with the traffic and bring his family. And I showed up at the captain's practice yesterday, and we chatted all about it. All the coaches, the whole practice, we were all shooting the breeze about how fun the show was because they listen. And when they all went downstairs, I started asking Bruce questions, a couple things on stuff I needed, and he turned to me and goes, hey, that was really fun yesterday. Let's do that again. So hopefully we'll get him here on the Russo-Souhan Show.
Yeah, he talked to everybody that
especially because Dulono's, I think I've told this story, and I probably shouldn't, but the reason why this relationship started with Dulono's is Andy knows this because Andy was there, but so there's a restaurant up in Prestwick Golf Course, and I was going up there this summer to go basically meet up with Bruce, and he had come off the 18th green with Jared, the owner of Dulono's, and so Bruce, we had dinner, and then Bruce left, because Bruce is not a late owl guy anymore. He was when he played, but not anymore. And Jared and I wound up hanging out for like 3 hours with Andy. And next thing I know, we had the podcast lined up. And now we're having our athletic birthday party here Friday at 6. Come on down. You don't have to be a subscriber, by the way. But we'd love to have you. So.
And the backstory behind Dulono's is it was a famous old joint in Uptown. And they ended up moving downtown, and people didn't know that they had moved. So one of the things we're trying to do is help people realize Dulono's alive and well. It's downtown Minneapolis as well as Woodbury. And anytime you support Dulono's, you're helping support the podcast.
So in a lot of ways, Bruce to thank for that because I would have never met Jared. But so because of his friendship with Jared and because we had fun on the fan the other day, I said to him yesterday, I'm like, anytime you want to come to the podcast, you can come support your buddy. Jared wants to name a pizza after Bruce too, so that'll be fun.
Well, he was, Wayne Gretzky's hero, so
yes,
that's
exactly.
a great story.
Yeah.
That is.
Okay, here you go. In your opinion, this